These doors are called bifold doors in English, y en español son las puertas de dos dobladuras.
At the top of your bifold door, there should be a little car that sits in the track. The pin in the bifold door is lodged in between two springs in the car. When the device is working properly, the door and pin fastened to the car will glide along the track to open and close the bifold door. On the other door, you can see the pin sticking up from the bifold door, but it is hanging loose in the wind because the car into which the pin is usually nested is missing. So this bifold door won't glide along the track and it's just hanging loose.
It reminds me of my dad because my dad used to do all these fix-it projects. Back in those days, there were no videos online, and so he would just look at the mechanism to figure out how it worked, or he would buy a book. My dad was very handy. Unfortunately, he didn't really pass it to the three of us kids. However, I have always had an interest in homes and building things and trying to understand how things work mechanically. So I do have an interest and just wish I had the time, and you know, my dad had sort of trained me better, but not his fault, mine. But I am making up for it now by just trying to understand how things work and trying to fix things myself, especially since these days I have the benefit of YouTube and Vimeo and other online videos. So you see here that there is, I don't know if you can see it well, but there is a peg that's like an anchor. The other thing about learning how to do these things is that you have to learn new vocabulary. So I'm not sure if that's the right name, but the peg is it pivots, so it allows me to move this door, but it pivots in place. Whereas if you go down here towards the center, there is also a peg, but that peg actually is anchored into a little, let's call it, for lack of a better word right now, like a little car, and it sits in there, and then it can move along this thing that's called a rail. So I discovered that this bifold door is sort of broken. It comes sort of loose. You see that it doesn't sit right, and it's just hanging there. Now, the reason that it's doing that is because that pin that you see at the top, that might be another word, is supposed to sit in that plastic little car that's got a spring-looking piece to it. And I just bought a new one to see if I can fix the door. You see that it's got two spring-looking things, and in the middle is where the pin will go. So I have to try to figure out how to stick this car piece in the rail. It seems like I should just be able to press it in, and then this pin is sitting in the top of the door. I don't think that piece is broken, although it could be. I don't think it is. And you see that it actually pushes down so that when it comes up and into the car, it will allow that little car piece to go along the rail. Let's see if I can read the directions. I could, which is what I usually do, just push it in the rail, but this time, since I don't want to break these doors or the rail or get it stuck in there, although it's only a $2 piece, I will see if I can read the directions and get it in there correctly, and I'll be back. Turns out the directions are helpful. The center portion of this item, which I call a car, but there's probably another word for it, on the packaging, it says that it's a stay closed track snugger, so maybe it's a snugger. I call it a snugger car. It's got these two little pieces right here in the center, and those hooks snap into the track. The directions are to insert one side, then use a small flathead screwdriver to push the other in. Position it to the center of the track, then insert the tip of the lead door top guide. And I think that's where we're talking about that pin that goes in here. So let's try it. Here I've got my flathead screwdriver, and that's really just to push it in and have something that's a good surface and edge to push. Let's see what happens. I don't think it should matter where this goes, since the whole purpose of this car is to move along the track. So I'm just going to push, like it says, one hook in, which I can't even do with one hand. So let me try doing it by putting the phone down. I'm not sure it's correctly in there. It's really loose, but it is supposed to move, and it is moving, so that's good. I did not have to use a screwdriver to push the other hook in. I just pressed hard, and because there's some give to it, they snapped into place. Now I'm going to push the pin down, move this to the center, and see if maybe I can get it to go in between those two springs. I think I'm better understanding why it needs springs. It's because I'm going to pull this one side back so I can create a better hole there for the pin to go into. That appears to have worked. I held the spring back, I moved the pin into place, and then I let go of the pin. It snapped up, and then I let go of the spring, and so now the pin appears to be, ooh, look at that. I think I fixed it.